All right, we'll do this quick video on the low voter turnout. I'm not going to wait for people to come. If you come, you can come watch if you want. Briefly, I want to talk about the documentary I'm putting out tomorrow, and then to segue into that, first I'm going to talk about the black voter turnout that was in Alabama this week. As you see that I posted, black women and black men showed up, voted over 90%, which is amazing. I don't know if you've been familiar with the channel since its inception in 2015. This channel, we stress that local voting is very important. We've been encouraging that. We've been pushing that because we've been covering elections here in East Cleveland specifically, and Cleveland, but Cleveland specifically, where voter turnout can be 8.7%, sometimes 20% or under, usually around, I think, 10 or 12%. So we just try to keep a focus of, getting people active and participating. And it's not something that's very, a topic that's really talked about a lot. And this is one of the few times that the news not only focuses on a local issue, because all they've been talking about is Donald Trump, but they're focusing on an issue that's local and is relevant to everyone. Because your local officials have more, usually local officials have more control than the mayor, than the president. So the fact that, this story is being put out there and black people showed up. Now I understand that black people should have, maybe had an agenda or, asked for, what's his name? Doug Jones, asked for what they wanted, different things like that. Like make sure he plans to work in the interest of black people, especially if they came out and supported him and got him in office, which is fair. So again, the importance of the black vote, the importance of turning out. A lot of people that I think we see, I don't really see it being stressed that, our vote doesn't count and this and that, but locally it does. And I think, situations like in Alabama proves it. Also, what I want to focus on is how, if you look at it, it's interesting how the conservatives and the Republicans marketed and advertised to the black community in Alabama. The PAC paid thousands of dollars to, on black radio shows, and they were running ads that were basically saying that for abortion. And they were saying, the 3,000, I think in Alabama alone, it was 3,000 babies that were aborted last year or something. And then they were saying that, the guy is for abortion. And it's one of the number one killers of the black community is abortion. So they're playing that on the radio in Alabama to try and get black people to vote. But on the other side, they're telling that the other guy who's the conservative, they're saying he's a racist. So it's important to look at the way, the psychology of when they are trying to get your vote. They're going to play, they're going to say this side is racist, which would generally be the Republicans or conservatives. And then this side, the other side, they're trying to go with the moral issues such as abortion. So as I said, they marketed the black radio stations in Alabama, and they told them that, this candidate supports abortion, and they're going deaf. The conservatives, they'll talk about Planned Parenthood. They'll say, they're targeting black communities. They're destroying the black families. They're promoting abortion in the black community, which is true. You can't deny that they're not there. So it's not, that's why I don't think it's good to get caught up in this side or this party or this party if you really just focus on what they're saying, it makes a point. But the people, he's, the guy, he's an alleged molester, so he's not going to win. So the point of me saying all this, basically a short video, is that the documentary I'm putting out tomorrow, I haven't been putting out a lot of other videos because I've been working on that the past month or so. And it's a month straight, hours a day to edit it down. It's about an hour long. And it's throughout, I would say it starts at 2015. So it's footage that I have from, starting 2 years ago since I started the channel till now. And it just shows what you would see yesterday or the 2 days ago with the Alabama thing on how, they got the high turnout. The NAACP, they called people, they registered people, they registered felons. They just got people educated, made sure they had their ID, different things like that. So that's why this channel, we try to promote local voting, because local voting matters. If someone is telling you, if you watch a video and they're telling you that don't vote or your vote doesn't count or voting doesn't matter, and they don't have any content on them actually going to, see or investigate if it matters or how it's affecting their own community, I wouldn't listen to them. I've already shown it that it works if you're familiar with the content, but this documentary specifically, it covers the election, the local election, November 8th, and a few of the recalls before that. But again, the turnouts are low in Black communities and Black cities, and we understand that it's hard to trust the system. It's hard to, have faith, when the CIA and the FBI is planting drugs in the community from the 60s and 50s. Like, we understand the government is untrustworthy towards the Black community. But as far as local voting, I'm just trying to show that, and I've never seen anything like it as far as the in-depth look on how the process, like we see the end result, we see the candidate is running and we see them getting elected. Because often as an activist, you're in the middle. You have to convince your community the change that you're selling. In the instance of this film, they have to convince the community, and then on the same token, they have to just fight the system. So you have to bring the community and convince them, and you have to, the corporate structure, the politicians, the existing structure of government that exists in your city is it's a two-way battle, and it's not a trending issue, but it's something that is needed. I think this documentary is something that's needed. It can be a resource, a reference point for people in their communities, like, okay, it's possible. We can, this is how we can achieve the change. This is how we can organize our community and strategize. And it's not everything that's trending and not popular, like it really doesn't help. So like I'm saying, it's a quick video, just the documentary. If you can share the event, like the event, share the event on your page or whatever. I've been sharing it, and I figure this is the best time to put it out because of what's going on in Alabama. The people in Alabama, they came out and voted. They came out and supported. And people are talking about the voter turnout. And this documentary, the key thing is the voter turnout. And the reason the voter turnout was so high in Alabama, partially they had an advantage because it was in the media. It was on CNN. It was talked about, all throughout. So the people were well aware. But if you go in any community, the majority of people, they don't know who their council people are, who their ward people are. You know what I mean? Like, they're not familiar with these politicians, and that blame goes both ways. People should be familiar with their politicians. They should make an effort to be familiar with their local politicians, and the politicians need to make an effort to be familiar with them. So when you watch this documentary, you'll just notice that, okay, you know, we're trying to promote consciousness, we're trying to better the community, but the people, are they ready? Are they really ready for it? Do they believe that a change can occur within a government, the way this government system is set up? If you put the right people in place, can the system work? You know, or is it the people in the system, or is it the way the system is designed, where no matter who you put in it, it's just not going to work? So I think it requires multiple viewings, but again, that's the main message I wanted to get across was, you know, we talk about, it's easy to just talk online and, you know, we can talk about a vast number of subjects and topics and metaphysics and everything, and that's great, but this video is the actual work. It's the actual things that affect people, whether they're conscious or not, because if someone is conscious and they're watching, you know, stuff on the internet, that's that person. They chose to click on that video. But what about the old lady who doesn't have YouTube? What about senior citizens who don't use the internet? What about children who live in, you know, environments that they don't have control over? So when you talk about conscious and this and that, that generally only affects people who are like-minded people, and that's great, but there's a limit to it. So when you get involved in the community, you're helping the community, not just conscious people. So I could go on and on and on, but once again, 2 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, it's about 59-minute documentary on, you know, the voting process, getting rid of, it's a suburb of Cleveland, East Cleveland. It's a $5.8 million deficit. City's going bankrupt, dilapidated houses, high unemployment, environmental issues, different things like that. So these activists and residents came together, tried to make a change, used the political process, and it's very. I enjoy working on it, and I enjoy just the process. I think even for the people that live here, I think people would just enjoy it, and because I could just make it a local video, but I want people to. I don't think there's any video or many videos like it where people can draw from it, and because there are some people from out of town in the video, you'll see later in the video. So I think we have to, I don't know how to make it trendy or more appealing, not appealing, but you know what I mean, where it's just, it's not the popular thing, like it's not, but it's the most important thing. And that's what, you know, this channel, we focus on current events. Sometimes I'll post things, but a lot of the videos, you know, that's why I try and promote like independent thinking, because a lot of the videos, they are basically, it's not really stuff that you hear a lot about. And often, you know, why would, if we say, okay, we know the system is brainwashed, we know they're brainwashing us, we know, you know, mind control through the media, why the hell is everybody talking about the same thing? Like, I'm not just going to give my opinion on something that everyone else has gave their opinion on. I'm going to at least go and try and give you, the viewer, you know, an inside, in-depth look. You know what I mean? So if the media is brainwashing us, what does that mean if that's all we talk about? They're filtering us, they're feeding us, you know, what they want us to talk about. They want us to talk about this stuff, and we give out all our opinions, and it's like when you talk about real things, it gets swept under the rug, or people don't think it's really that important because maybe it's not that much entertaining, it's not gossip, there's not a lot of action. But is it not the most important? You know, I'll let you decide. So I'm gonna wrap it up. Everyone have a good night. 2 p.m. tomorrow, I'll release the video. Maybe I'll go on live again after that. But everyone have a good night. All right.